the Newsflesh Trilogy. This consists of 3 main novels: Feed, Deadline, Blackout, and the sequel, Feedback, as well as several short stories. This is a list of all the novels and short stories in the Newsflesh Trilogy. I bought these on Apple Books with iTunes gift cards, but I believe they're also for Kindle, Nook, anywhere else ebooks are sold, I'm sure. So this is a story about 3 young journalists 25 years after the zombie apocalypse. So in this series, the zombie apocalypse comes about from 2 superbugs being developed on different sides of the country. On one side you have a cure to the common cold. This hasn't been tested, but some very righteous, rebellious teens release this into the world. And some people blame a journalist that was complaining about this never being released to the public, that it would only be released to rich people, when it's so infectious that it would have got out if it hadn't stayed in the lab. And so that'd be fine. Everybody has no colds, they never feel sick. But there's another group that has been doing human trials on a cancer cure. And these are so aggressive forms of, I guess, infection that it cures everything in your body. But when the 2 meet each other, they don't try to save the host. They kind of just destroy all of what makes you you and turns you into a flesh-eating zombie. It's kind of funny, but like serious, and it does relate to kind of what's going on right now, although I wouldn't recommend reading these if you're still stressing daily about the pandemic. I've been there, it's rough, but I've moved on to like, okay, how do I deal with this? And that's why I think these books are a good series to read right now. I think they bring a lot of hope to the situation of like, okay, we can deal with this. So read the short story Countdown if you want to know more about the creation of this world. The creation of this fictional virus called Kellis Amberly is the one that rules the world and can turn people into zombies. There's a short story called San Diego 2014. This is about a different sort of characters. It doesn't relate to the novels at all. If you don't have a time to read, these are pretty thick books, but they do go by fast. You will get sucked into the reading. You will get sucked into the writing. It's so good. But San Diego 2014, that's a short story about a terrible outbreak in San Diego at the San Diego Comic-Con. That's a good one to read if you've read the series, or if you haven't, I definitely recommend. And Mira Grant has another prequel short story called All the Pretty Little Horses. Now this is about the main story's parents and the child that they had before they adopted the main characters of the book. The only thing I complain about that is I really wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about the childhoods of our main characters because so much happens to them in a short amount of time in this book. I just need more. I want them, to still be there. It's not a gory suspense, really. It's kind of more action-y, to give you a clue. And I'll do my best in this review to not give anything away. But just don't go into the comments. We'll talk there. We'll let the spoiler flag fly for you. Like right now, I see so much parallels between these bloggers are following someone running for president at a very difficult time for us right now. Supporting leaders that do everything to protect us, even in the face of such political opposition, is important. And I don't need to tell you in this video to go vote, because I'm sure you're seeing it in YouTube ads everywhere. But similar to today, with the government not doing the best job at protecting us, that happens in the books. So Mr. and Mrs. Mason are one of the first to broadcast what was happening and how to survive it in these books. Their origin story is in All the Pretty Little Horses and was actually much better than I could have even imagined. 25 years later, though, this celebrity makes them very vain and market share hungry. I would consider main characters of the book, Sean and Georgia Mason, to have been very spoiled, but they were raised very free range for a zombie apocalypse world. And it's no surprise that an apocalypse people turn to the internet for support, just like we are now. And so Sean and Georgia work as online journalists with their own blog on a blogging platform. So in this world, they have a few different roles. They have newsies. These people are, by the book, facts only. They have stewards who put their opinion with a lot of facts. They have Irwins, based off of the trope Steve Irwin. These are the people who like to go into the wild and poke zombies with a stick is the best way to kind of describe them. So our main character, Georgia, is a newsie, and her brother, they act as twins because of how they were raised, even though they were both adopted separately. Sean is more of an Irwin. They also have aunties, who are more the domestic cooking bloggers, and they have fictionals, just like we have fictitious writers now, and the main one in the story is Buffy, due to her fascination with the vampire slayer. So in this world, areas are ranked in safety from 10 to 1. 10 being the most safe, this is where Buffy lives, to 1 being like, you go in, you're not coming out. So the Mason children are raised in Area 7, to give you an idea, and areas zoned as a 10 are safe to play outside, but as soon as you do, it is upgraded to a zone 9 for uncaged mammals of amplification weight, to get specific. So yeah, so story begins with the trio of Sean, the Irwin, his sister Georgia, the newsie, and Buffy, the fictional, follow a presidential candidate on the road. They uncover a terrible thing that's going on, affecting the world, the debate. They have multiple attempts on their lives. It's definitely very thrilling. The siblings, who act as twins, are quite codependent on each other. I think there's a lot of psychology you can kind of get out of this book too, in the relationships that you build, and in what, a cushy modern society might be like, oh, you need to go to therapy for that. This is how you survive. I found that quite interesting in my kind of second read through. The first time you'll be so focused on the plot that you don't always get to kind of analyze what the characters are going through, and they're so well written that you will really want to. As these two are growing up, they kind of learn like the vain side of their parents, and how they feel like a lot of their childhood is a publicity stunt. They only get affection in public. We all at some point will realize the faults of our parents. We're all human, we all make mistakes, but those faults will range and vary from person to person. And this is something that I've recently come to kind of realize that, as a teen, my feelings were not validated. I was always told to not take things personally, and I was yelled at for everything from arguing to wanting to have intelligent discussion. So that's just a fault. Yeah, so the tipping point for me was being told that I don't know anything in regards to current events, and how our family could not have potential biases growing up in a small white town. Don't need to really get into that, but they still live there and only leave the state to go skiing, which is also a not very diverse activity. My method of coping was to write everything down on paper, and I just had to self-validate my own feelings and work through, what happens at age. It's big emotions, you don't know how to express them. So I relate to Georgia Mason on a lot of levels. Just kind of feeling like the older responsible sibling, valuing the truth in relationships is how I build trust. And even just being a redhead, like my eyes are very sensitive to light. My skin is very sensitive to temperature. Redheads don't tan, they just get sunburnt. And on top of that, I have a condition where I get hives in the cold. So that's super fun. And that release of histamine, that takes a lot of energy. So I end up getting very tired. This time of year is very difficult for me. So I take my medicine. I don't deserve to be in pain. So trying to find something to say that doesn't give away the plot too much, because so much happens. I really enjoy these books so much. A small team, one person, can do a lot with the voice that they're given. I hope you take that away from these books. Tell me what you think. I know I had to take a lot of pauses in these books when big events happen. I'd love to talk about those in the comments below. And I still need to decide what I'm reading for November. So November I dedicate to kind of family unit media. So I usually read a lot of books about families. If not your biological family, that family units are important. You know, a lot of realistic fiction, I guess. It sounds very vague, but it leaves a lot open for interpretation, and you think about what kind of TV shows that come out, and like memoirs that could come out about your personal stories. Like, that's kind of what I read in the month of November. Like, it's easier when you get older, you get to choose the people around you. And that can start at any age, depending on any circumstances. So there's just a lot of place to analyze, like, okay, is the biological family I'm with good for me? Like, good for my mental health? Good for your growth? Or, you know, I feel like I've come to a point that it's like, okay, I've learned all that I can from them, but how do I proceed when I don't? It's like there's no need to cut everyone off, but there's no intelligent discussion or future growth that's going to happen from me there. And I'm a person who doesn't value small talk. I don't enjoy chatter. That's why you're going to be a lot like Georgia Mason. Stick to the facts. Like, emotional facts is a thing. Your opinions are your personal truth, and I find that, like, how you view the world is a personal fact. Opinions are important to yourself. I'm definitely looking forward to an intimate Thanksgiving. So this Halloween, I'll be at the Royal Oak Farmers Market advertising my boyfriend's mom's face masks. They've been very great. You've seen them in all of my shipped videos. We will be there from 9 to 1. I guess it's open 7 to 1. She made some cloaks for us to dress up as Hogwarts students. If you saw my October update, you'll kind of have a taste of my outfit. Thanks for listening. Give this video a thumbs up if you're gonna read the books. Join me in the comments or on Goodreads to talk more books. So I haven't quite decided what I'm gonna read. So definitely follow me on Goodreads and you'll find out. I'd also love suggestions below. You can also follow me on Instagram for my more daily updates. And be sure to subscribe. I have made them in their own little house in Sims. So here in The Sims, I've made how I think the trio would look in the field. So Georgette, or Buffy as you know her, she has glasses. I would say she probably puts her hair up, but she keeps it pretty long for the apocalypse. Here next to her is Sean, ready for adventure in his cute little cardigan. And over here is a Miss Georgia, or George. She's got sunglasses, she is equipped and ready to go. She is a true and true newsie. And I went with definitely a very short hair that'd be easy to tangle, as her mom kind of disapproves of her fashion choices. So I'll show you their little house. So this one was pre-made, and it would normally have a front door and pathway, but you don't want any zombies knocking on your front door. People are not friendly or neighborly in this area. So to get into the house, you go through the garage. There's a door. Here we go. So there's a little path. So in The Sims 3, you can't connect things of different heights. So the house is on a platform. So I've got the little stairs over here going up to the level of the house. And I like their cliff view. I think it would be like open air enough for Sean's demeanor and for fictionals like Buffy to be inspired by the outside world. And not just stay inside, but you could stay inside and look out and pretend you're outside. That's kind of how I live. So we have not completely finished inside the home here, but I've got Georgia and Sean's bedrooms will be back to back with a sharing bedroom. I guess they probably would have more open doorways between them, but I'll show you what I've got going on in the living room. So I think they would have lots of monitors for both recreation and news. They would have lots of counter space here in the kitchen. And I liked definitely the long, like, meeting style table. They would get a lot done over meals and have access to their balconies. So no zombies would be able to get them up here because it doesn't wrap around to anywhere close to where zombies could get them. So I think Sean would enjoy that. I think Buffy would enjoy that. But over here in the corner, not completely finished on that empty wall there, I've got their office, which another sim is in there enjoying the office. But definitely some place for like Buffy, Sean, Georgia, Rick, or whoever might be joining them, like low candle lighting for Georgia's eyes. I've thought about that throughout. Kind of newsy style doors, I would think, because you want it to be like quiet while you're working, but not cut off from everyone. So then up this staircase, I have a tower for Buffy's room. I'm not sure if she would want windows or not, because these windows here are just going to look out onto the roof. Which, I mean, maybe if there's birds or something, she'd find that inspirational. I laugh that there's a meteor rock on top of the house, but that's what her little cool roof would look like. I have not quite finished the inside because she is very much a techie, so tech equipment will probably take over a majority here, but she's also very artsy, which in The Sims 3 means painting. Could be sculpting, but I always find that sculpting takes up a lot of space. I like the flowery print that I found for her bed here. Something very, like, whimsical. And a lot of this green wood, teal wood, was in this build before I got here. So I kind of kept it, but then I added definitely a lot of dark browns. I really like those. So that's basically it. No secret underground laboratory for them. I did cheat to move them in, because when you start a sim, they only get like 16,000, 20,000. But after that initial, like, I gave them 100,000, I was gonna go from there and play in a more realistic way. Because Sean would need to find a job, possibly as a blogger. I put his lifetime reward as a seasoned traveler. He's definitely adventurous, loves the outdoors. I think he'd be eco-friendly. He's very charismatic and athletic. Miss Buffy, I thought she would want to master painting and writing. She's very flirty, sometimes absent-minded. She's handy. She's definitely a genius and a computer whiz. And she had an opportunity. She wants to go to Egypt. Right now, she's a bookstore clerk. That's her job, but we might want to get a better one, possibly self-employed painter or something. And then Georgia, I thought she'd want to go the traditional route in journalism. She just started as a paper girl. But she's got no sense of humor. She's a night owl perfectionist, very perceptive, and ambitious. So I'm excited to play them. They're just the kind of characters that I just didn't want to let go, and I absolutely love seeing them in The Sims. I didn't write anything after that. Okay.